to the MFM podcast.
All right, let's do it. What do you have for us today, Michele? What are you going to say today that's going to get us fired up?
Today we're going to talk about a subject that could probably go down a million different ways. So let's just see what direction this takes us in. But navigating modern relationships, online dating, gender roles, how women are acting more masculine, all sorts of stuff like that.
I got to just start it off by saying I think that modern day relationships are so skewed and effed because of social media. It's ruining dating. It was always hard for nice, good, genuine-hearted guys, but it's even harder now, I believe.
Did you guys hear about the girl who leaked all of the most richest, high-value, eligible bachelors in Egypt? She literally did years worth of research to see who made the most money, all of that stuff, and leaked it out there to women. And now those men are like being attacked. Yeah. Like, imagine being on that list, like every woman. And it's like American women. This woman made a spreadsheet. Who had the most money, bonus points if they were good looking, if they had nice families. It like broke it down, and she leaked it to the public because she met her husband. What are your thoughts on women like that who specifically date just to lock someone down with money?
I think it's funny that women seem to have such an outsized idea of their worth. They all think they're 10s. You know, every woman's beautiful.
Listen, men think the same way.
Not
too.
every
Come
woman.
on.
Not everyone is beautiful, men or women. And they think that, you know, because they're a 10 and because their friends tell them they're a 10, then that they deserve a 10. And they may get to hook up with a 10 because guys will hook up with girls. You know, that guy is not going to wife. They're going to constantly be disappointed when there's plenty of 6s that would wife them up and be good to them and not cheat on them and support them. But they're not going to settle for a 6 because everyone's told them, all their friends have told them they're a 10 when they're not a 10.
So you think that most women are seeking someone out of their league?
Definitely, women will not date down.
It's just they cannot get their attraction circuitry like clicking to do that.
As I get older, yes, this is going to sound so bad, but I made the mistake of marrying for love the first time around. I married a broke ass guy and regret it every day of my life.
What did he do that made you want to marry him? What was the attraction?
I don't know in hindsight because we were only married for 2 years. Yeah. But I think
must have treated you so bad.
Afterwards, yes. The week of the wedding, I knew that I should not marry him, but I went through with it.
You know, it's the saying, behind every great woman is a guy that treats her like crap.
Yeah, well, I think my ex-husband takes the cake on that one for sure. I think that I was getting to like an age where I felt like I needed to get married. Yeah, I was like 29 years old. I felt like I should settle down. Do you think a lot of people do that where they get to a certain age and they're like, oh my God, I got to lock shit down now? Or do you think nowadays it's okay to wait?
I think it's over the last 20 years that's changed a lot.
Definitely.
Now, I've never had the type of parents that would be like, oh, when are we getting grandkids? I actually there's a lot I respect about my parents, but I respect them a lot in that regard. I'm about to be 37. They've never pressured me once about settling down or having kids or getting married. And they didn't do that in my brother either. And he didn't get married until he was 34. So there's some familial pressure, I think, for people. But I think it's a whole society. I think people are getting married later and later. Now, I still think there's plenty of people who have that like biological clock and stuff. Actually, one of my good friends right now, The Natural, he's dating a girl who, at this point, he's in one of those relationships where like he's either going to have to marry her or it's going to be tough.
An awful breakup.
It's going to be an awful breakup. Yeah. That's what a bad place to be.
Like he's expected to marry her at this point because they've been together
and he's
for
so laid
long.
back. He kind of just like stumbled into it. She was kind of like, you're dating me kind of thing, you know, like, but she's like got an age, you know, and I guess she's been upfront about it since they first met. So it's not like they started dating and she's like, oh, by 35, I need to have kids. So
How old is he?
He is 34, I think. And she's like 31, maybe.
And how long have they been dating?
They've only been dating for probably like 7 or 8 months.
And we call it, just so you know,
he's not under pressure.
We call him The Natural because there's two different types of guys. Guys that have to get their heart broken tons of time and study books to understand women and psychology and pick up and stuff. And then there's guys that just get it. For whatever reason, they just get it and they know how to, it's something that they just get.
Well, that they're doing something that women like.
Yeah, and they're called naturals. And this guy is just, he's naturally
I've never
good
heard that
looking.
term before.
It's from the Pickup Artist, the book.
When I first met him, I was in the process of learning these lessons. I was in like my mid-20s. I was like, angry at girls, and Shav and I would like rant on stuff, and I'd be like, yeah, you have to do this and care less than them and blah blah blah. And the natural would just be like, yeah, I know, like you didn't know that.
He was just like born knowing what to do.
He just was born not caring. But that's what we were talking about last time, where we said like, if you've reached a point where you legitimately don't care, like you can actually be nice to him. Like he's so nice to girls, but because he cares so little.
Yeah.
Like I've seen him go to a bar, sit down next to a girl, and then an hour that he's never met before, an hour later, she's giving him a head in the car.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it in my life.
There's just guys that give off energy. I think it's all about energy.
Yeah.
I think that's come as I've gotten older, and I'm sure like you can relate. As I've gotten older, you genuinely just don't care as much as you did like when you were in your 20s. And when you genuinely don't care, you don't need game, because game is just a way to make the girl think that you believe or feel something you don't. Like I genuinely just don't care as much now about the outcome.
Yeah.
Like I used to care about. So, I don't put as much stock into it. Whatever happens. But boy, back when we were in our 20s.
Do you think game exists over the age of 40 or even like 35? Do you think people still run game or have game, or?
You got to have
some level.
Some type. You got to be able to have a conversation. Game definitely exists. It's strategically demonstrating higher value.
Asking whether a guy has to have game over the age of 35. Does a woman still wear makeup over the age of 35?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I'm going to pull part of my life coaching stuff here is that if you're putting so much game out there to package yourself in a certain way, are you actually getting somebody that you would belong with or enjoy? You know what I mean?
Right, but I can say the exact same thing about women and cosmetics. If a guy meets you for the first few times, foundation, eyeliner, mascara,
talk about the hair
heels,
on your nightstand,
the fake hair, fake nails, everything fake. Is he really meeting you? He's meeting a representative. That's your avatar.
There's a big difference between putting on makeup and making yourself look prettier than legit
game is just
running
makeup
game.
For men. Game is just makeup for men.
Game is just makeup for men.
Yeah.
Evolutionarily are calibrated to understand that their worth is tied to how they look. Their fertility, like a guy's going to perceive their fertility levels and everything based on how they look, symmetry of their face, hip to waist ratio, all these different, I should have gotten the stats, but there are stats on it. Guys know that our worth is tied to the resources that we can procure and provide to a female and to provide to an offspring. So women, to manipulate their perceived value, it's why cosmetics is $1 billion a year industry.
Why do so many women date broke ass men then?
Because they
have
care.
game.
Because they have game, yeah. Because they've made them feel like they would be lucky to have them, or they've made them feel like they've created like the feeling of jealousy in them, or they've created the feeling of competition in them, where they've made the woman feel like she has to conquer that. And women like a project too. They don't always want a finished product,
Right. If the guy is actually broke, he either has made her think that he's got something going where he's not going to be broke, or like his family has money, or he's got something pending. No girl's just going to be with some just
That's
broke
not
guy.
true. Women date broke ass men all the time.
Give me an example.
Then they have social worth or something.
Well, if a girl's just strictly dating a guy and he is 100% broke, then that guy's level of game and being able to create a jealousy plot line.
What if he's not running game and she just loves him?
It's impossible.
Impossible.
It's impossible.
Impossible.
You can't.
That's not true, because I've had someone in my life who not necessarily wasn't rich, but the way that he was with me and his person and who he was so genuine and so loving. And that's why I dated him.
Why aren't you still together then?
We currently hang out sometimes.
Okay.
That's
all
the
right.
big T.
All right. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
All right.
But you're not in a committed relationship with him.
No.
Why not?
Because we're just hanging out as friends again. I hadn't seen him in a while.
Why'd you guys
and all
break
that
up
kind of
originally?
stuff. He had just gotten divorced and his life was just like crazy and stuff like that. He needed to spend some time apart healing.
You tell more.
I think that's
No,
why.
I
we
did
figured
not.
out why she liked him.
I did not cause the divorce.
Yeah.
I did not cause the
you
divorce.
liked him because he was broken and because he needed time to heal. He couldn't get in a relationship.
That's probably accurate.
And you probably couldn't have him right when you wanted him.
That's not true.
If a guy is broke, trust me, that guy, his jealousy.
He wasn't
levels
broke,
are
but he
crazy.
wasn't like I was never
saying he
the type
wasn't
to
like
go
a
out there
millionaire.
searching for money, Because in my history, the guys that have had the most money have been assholes.
He must have just treated you so poorly for you to like him.
Not all women like to be treated poorly. They really don't.
They don't. No, they generally don't like to be treated poorly. It's a shame. And I think a lot of women, they like struggle within themselves that they know they don't like to be treated poorly. Women are taking into consideration when choosing a mate for themselves, but also they have to think about a future. Like if I were to have a seed with this guy, how good of a provider and a protector he could be. It just so happens that when a guy is a jerk and a guy shows off jerkish qualities, that comes off to them like he's going to be a stronger mate and a better protector.
They don't like to be treated poorly, but they like a guy that'll stick up for them.
Yes, there's like the treating poorly and that like strangely attracts them. I also think you don't have to treat them poorly, but you can't be, all right, like I'm at the point where I'll treat a girl very well and be very kind. You can't be more excited about everything than them. You can't be more into the relationship. You don't have to treat them poorly, but you have to be laid back about things. You have to be patient. You're not always the one. You don't always initiate everything. You make them initiate everything. And then they can't say, well, he's being a dick. You do everything nice, but he never asked me to hang out, or he never does this, but like he's so nice. Like that can work too. But it's just because you show you care less, and then you have like boundaries you set up. You don't have to be a dick to say, hey, these are the things that I'm going to do or the things that I like, and those are non-negotiable. I can be nice as shit to you and still say that, and that's attractive.
Women just don't like guys that they can run over.
Exactly.
Like super wussy guys.
Women love men they cannot manipulate, but to find out those guys, they will try to manipulate, which is what angers me. And I learned that, well,
it's like a dog with like an electric fence.
Yeah, they subconsciously screen guys, whether they know it or not, whether they like it or not, whether girls will admit to it or not. Screen them for their strength, like to see what boundaries this guy's going to lay down. And if he doesn't set boundaries and impose those boundaries, she will lose attraction to him and go off and find the bigger, better thing. Kind of what makes me more bitter than anything is it's so hard for women to be able to sit down and tell men this. Like, they cannot do it. Women are told their whole life. They're told how to do makeup to make themselves look cute, and we can tell them how to come up in the dating world. But with men, it's just expected. Boys are just supposed to find out for themselves. Like, you know, boys just find out on your own.
Who do you think taught us all that shit?
TV, your moms, your older sisters, the other women in your life. It's mostly just how to put on makeup and how to try and be a lady, which is the art of being a lady.
You feel like the world is still like that, though, or it's changed?
No, I think it's changing. I think the art of being a lady is completely being lost with social media and what we're praising in today's media. But what I was saying was the only thing anybody ever told me coming up, and it was my mom, and it took my mom to say it. It was after like the fourth girl had broken my heart. I was so nice. I mean, you know better than anybody, like all the situations with girls. I remember after like the third or fourth girl, I'm just sitting in my house and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like I'm being a gentleman like everybody tells me I'm, doing this. I'm making a bunch of money. I'm playing in the NBA. I'm not terrible looking. Why does this keep happening? And she was like, let me just tell you one thing. The woman's always got to be a little bit more into it than the man. And I'm kind of just like,
I love that
what?
She told you
like,
that.
What?
It's so true.
Like, what? You couldn't have told me that 10 years ago? It took all this for you just to tell me that? Why couldn't have somebody just took me to the side and just been like, hey, just don't text her back? You know what I mean? Like,
hey,
make
buddy.
her, just completely ignore.
Well, in general, women like a challenge. Any guy that, like, if we're having an argument that we could just walk all over, like, goodbye, see you later. Especially women who, are like alpha women, who are strong business women and stuff. When they, go home, they don't want to.
Let's talk about how sad alpha widowed women are. Do you know what alpha widowed women are? It's girls that have dated an alpha male, been with an alpha male, and got like the alpha male broke up with them, and they can't get them back. And so now they cannot go back in lifestyle.
No. Women cannot go backwards
because they can't find another
alpha male. They can't move on. A girl has, like we said, they date across or up, and it's that same in their like redating strategy. They have to get over the last guy. They have to think that the new guy is at least equal to or greater value. A girl's just not going to be able to move on.
Well, I think once you date like an alpha male, a healthy alpha male, there's way overuse of the word toxic masculinity. First of all, I think it's so overused. But, you know, like a healthy alpha male, once you date one of those, I think you are screwed because you're never going to want to date any.
Girls love toxically masculine men.
Why don't you speak for men and let me speak for women?
I'm the nicest, like, church-going Christian man, and I'm just telling you what I know.
I thought you were talking about, when you said alpha widowed woman, for some reason, I thought you were about, like, widows. Like,
me too.
You were into widows.
We're not going to go that deep.
Recently, I have decided, and this is after, like, dating a few,
yeah,
I like single moms. I really like single moms. You know, it's funny, like 5-10 years ago, I would have thought,
I think a lot of men like
she
single
has a
moms.
kid. I would
juice box on the way out.
Well,
they can never get too obsessed with you because they have a kid. Yeah.
They've got perspective. They've got their own stuff going on. They understand what's important. The relationship could be important to them, but it's not their whole life to where that's all they're focused on, to where they get mad at you if you can't hang out one night. You know, they're really reasonable and they give great head.
But do they not come with a lot of baggage? You know, baby daddy baggage.
Okay, so that is the thing. It needs to be a single mom that has a good relationship with like their ex or their baby daddy.
Yeah.
I like a single mom who the dad is still in the picture and they have
Co-parent.
Could you like seriously date a single mom?
I think so. Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I'm never gonna have kids myself, so I think, but I like great with kids. My niece and nephew are 4 and 2, and I found out like I never even held a baby before my niece and nephew, but I found out through like getting to know like, oh damn, I'm great with kids.
Yeah.
And like I feel very comfortable with kids, so I think that I would be great with someone's kid, but I don't want kids of my own, and it's not that important to me. So I think it's actually be a good balance for me. But I don't want one that's got this crazy baby daddy drama.
That's like what you prefer now, or you
I
just
wouldn't
saying
say
you
prefer.
would?
I mean, it is kind of the majority out there right now. When you
I've
get to
dated.
be
You get over 30, yeah.
I've hung out with a couple now, and I'm like, this is actually cool. Like, there's less pressure.
Because it's every other weekend.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I'm a single mom.
I'm saying single moms are the best.
I think, Shav, you wouldn't date a single mom because you
No,
want to
I'm
have
not
kids.
saying I'm not saying I wouldn't. I don't even know if I've ever hooked up with a.
You're missing out.
We are completely like, you want kids. I have raised my kids already. I'm an empty nester, and you don't want kids.
Yeah,
So interesting.
And I'm not regretting my decision at all. Like I said, I'm about to turn 37. I decided probably in my mid-20s. I guess I didn't think about it for a long time. And then like when I got into my mid-20s, you start like thinking, and I was like, I really don't want kids. And for a while I thought maybe I'm just saying that. I really don't want kids. And I don't think I'll ever get married either. Now that I have my niece and nephew too, who I love and I see 2 to 3 times a week and I'm obsessed with, but it actually makes me very comfortable in my decision. After 2 hours, I'm like, I'm good.
This isn't
like,
mine.
I gotta go home.
Yeah, I was similar with the like getting married. My whole life since I was like 21, everyone's like, "Oh, you're gonna get married. You're gonna meet that person." And you know what? To their defense, if girls had actually appreciated the good guy, I probably would have been married with like 10 kids by now. Because I a couple times wanted to get married, and I was just too nice.
There are tons of women out there that like good guys.
They
when
like
you were
good
playing
guys
in
for
the
their
NBA, you were in
daughter.
your 20s.
I was in my 30s too.
Yeah, but you were dating girls who were in their 20s. So yes, a lot of girls in their 20s go after the douchebags because they don't know better.
I've got sample sizes from girls in the entertainment industry, girls that were Christian virgins, girls that were from my hometown, girls that live in. I mean, I've sampled every experience. I mean, and you.
Yeah, but it's not that they like dicks that are going to treat them like shit.
Well, it was just I didn't.
That was a very interesting song choice for what he's about to say.
I was more into them than they were to me, and that's just an unnatural dynamic in a relationship. And some of the situations maybe I should have proposed and I didn't at the right time. But to your point, what I was going to say was my whole life I had people say, "You're going to get married. And I always say, "All right, mother effer, I'm not going to get married."
So have you given up on getting married?
No, I have not given up. I'm actually way more open to it now than I've ever been. Like I have a big struggle of kind of like my Christian side and doing what like my heart tells me, right? But then also like feeding kind of my worldly sinful side. Like they're kind of at odds with each other, and so sometimes
naughty.
Yeah.
But you also don't do anything to put yourself out there to date. So you're not actively dating right now.
I would not say it's been getting the degree, finishing school and everything. It's just been like and I've just gotten I've
Oh
been
yeah,
lazy.
did you
I
know
haven't
he went
been-
back
I did.
and finished at Duke?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
When
Thank
is your
you.
graduation? We're going. Will you go and
Yeah.
hold signs up with me?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Shav.
Protest him. I mean, oh yeah, we'll support him.
Yeah. It says Bachelor of Arts and Sciences, and it makes it seem way cooler. Than
Yeah. Trust me, I was there when he was 2 Spanish classes he had
Yeah.
to finish, right?
Hola.
Thank you.
Don't ask him
Yeah.
to speak it at all. So, speaking of marriage, does this shock you that the marriage rate in US has plummeted by nearly 60% in the last 50 years?
It does not shock me. The marriage rates are going to keep going down on top of the way social media rewards twerking and all this stupid strip culture.
You know what's funny is I'm getting so old. I've started telling people to get off my lawn, and I live in an apartment. I don't want to get married, but I think it's a bad thing that's going down. I do want other people to get married because I do think raising a kid, ideally it'd be in a 2-parent household so they get both perspective, and we're not reproducing at the same rate.
Yeah.
And the people who are reproducing are the less intelligent people.
Yeah.
A lot of
Right.
intelligent, educated
Yeah.
people are realizing like I can chase my dreams for 10 years before I settle down. There's all these things in the world, and the
Right.
internet has shown us that there's all these things we can do, and so they're putting that off or they're not doing it. And then the people who are just, and like,
Think like
they're having the kids.
situationships, thruples, boys, all this stuff. Do you think the actual old school modern relationship is even a thing anymore?
It's not the norm. And I would say that the thing about social media, there's 2 things. One, there's always another option just available to you,
Right.
or these dating apps,
Yeah.
swipe. And it's just, if you're in a tough time, you can just go, and it's like the easiest it's ever been to find attention elsewhere.
Right.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And also, because social media is like, everyone's highlight reel, everyone's life is perfect on social media, people see that and they think everyone's living their dream or everyone has reached all their goals and stuff. And so then they either want to go try to do crazy shit or they get really depressed because they're like, I'm the only one who's not living my dream. And,
Absolutely.
I'm the only one who's not being awesome.
I actually feel bad for young teenage girls coming up, not more so than boys. I feel bad for girls. They have to live with thinking that the things that people post on social media is real life. Can you imagine if we would have had social media when we were in
Filtered
high school?
world
Like,
is crazy.
Like to have girls think that every girl just looks perfect skin. Like when you get to one of those big cities and you meet some of these girls that are Instagram models or like big on social media, the work that has gone into filtering up that face and
Absolutely.
like doing it up and put, makeup and all this stuff has been hours and hours of work before it actually hits your
Or just use the
phone.
bold glamour
And when you
filter on
and
TikTok.
I tell buddies of people they haven't traveled or haven't gotten around some of my friends that go to high school here. It's like, look, man, they don't look like that. And girls are having to live up to that pressure. I feel bad for them.
And then I would say for guys, the social media world, it's like every guy has a Lamborghini. Oh, every guy is like the most alpha, highest.
yeah.
Every guy is rich.
Every guy has a mansion. Every guy, like,
exactly, which is all fake as well.
Watch this. Can you see my face?
Oh, wow. That's
I'm
insane.
gonna put it-
Holy shit. What?
Yeah, you want to talk about catfish?
Oh, my God. Dude, I look so good.
By the way, I
Did
wanted
you
to
bold glamour it?
start off this by congratulating
Let me see.
Dan because we know
Oh my
it kind of
god!
got.
Look at Dan.
I know. I wanted to start this off by congratulating him. We kind of got overshadowed by the Super Bowl and everything, but he did win his first world title, the middleweight division.
Yes,
of
thank
UFC
you. Yeah.
3 weekends ago.
Wait,
he
what?
beat Sean Strickland in a tough
What is
5-round
happening?
fight.
What?
He was.
What did the guy
cutting
look
weight.
like him?
I am Duplessis.
Google Duplessis UFC and
Okay.
tell me the guy looks exactly like Dan.
And then what social media can do to relationships, like, all right, so
Oh, wow.
2 people are dating and a comment can send a relationship
Right.
into a
Oh,
spiral.
yeah.
Like, this guy liked your profile or this guy left a comment and then, oh, you don't post me enough. Like I post you, you don't post me enough. That shit, if I get a comment of you don't post me enough, like I can't do it.
I'm gonna
I'm
drop that topic I wanted your guys' opinion on. What are your thoughts if somebody doesn't want anything posted on social media? Is that a red flag? Like
It's
even
a red
their
flag
name.
for the girl. The girl has got to want
Yes.
to promote it and want it to be out there because if she's
Exactly.
active on social media and she doesn't post pictures of you and her, it's because she's still got a for sign sale on her head.
Yep.
On
Yeah, so I'm asking about
So,
if men.
a man should have no reason not to do it, but it's way more of a red flag for a woman
to
not
not
to
want
want
to.
to
Yeah,
post on social
I
So
think
it's not a red flag for men?
It's a
honestly
orange flag.
Yeah,
Why? Why?
I
So
shouldn't. I
that
shouldn't
makes
have
no
to.
sense.
For me personally, honestly, I get on Instagram like once every 2 or 3 weeks. I literally open the app once every 3 weeks.
I'm the same. I'm the
But
same.
like, it's not my thing. And you know, I don't get on any of the other social medias. But like, so the only thing I post on Instagram is the stuff about my filmmaking.
Yeah.
So like when we did the show, that was the most I've posted in years. Or if we finish a video or a music video or something, I will post that because I do need somewhere for people to say, oh, Dan's a filmmaker, I got to see his work. But
Yeah.
I don't post any personal stuff, so I should not have to post. Like, if a girl's trying to pressure me to make a post with them, like, I shouldn't have to do that because I don't put any personal stuff. Right. You know, so I think it depends on your posting. If I was always posting personal stuff and then I didn't want to post the girl or something, I could see that being a red flag. Yeah. And if the same with the girl. But I do think a girl, if you do both post personal stuff, I think it should be like a 3-to-1 ratio. For every
100%.
3 posts
I
a
do
girl
think
make with a
girls
guy, a guy
post
should only do
more.
one.
Yeah.
But do you think it's a red flag if the guy does not want you to post something?
if he doesn't want you to post something.
Yeah. So I had somebody that didn't, and I respected the reason that he didn't want to be put in a post just because he had an ex and there was drama and he was co-parenting and all of that kind of stuff. But there was like a post that had his name in it that I was going to put on my story. And he was like, I'd rather you not post it. To me, it seemed like a red flag.
That's a
like
red
he was
flag.
hiding something.
I think that's a red flag.
Yeah.
I'd say there's only a few scenarios I think would be not a red flag. And I actually had a situation like that in one of my relationships where my girlfriend wanted to post and it was like a whole thing because I was like, I'm not active. The thing about it is what girls don't get by you posting them, that's going to make them get more girls. Girls think
seriously.
like that,
Yeah,
whether they like it or not.
I agree totally. And I wasn't even looking to like post him because I also do social media for a living.
Yeah.
So I was trying to post, keep my algorithm active, and it was just something I wanted to post. It just had his first name in it.
Yeah. Now, I think it's weird if someone doesn't want to be posted at all, though.
Yeah.
But for me to post someone, that's like hell freezing over. But even to be in a girl's post, I think I would have to, like, I wouldn't mind being in it if it was like something casual, but like some like lovey-dovey post, I would have to be real into the girl to feel comfortable with that. I don't know. There's something about social media in general that just makes me, and I think for me a little bit, it's like once that posted, then man, I think like I'm in it now. You know?
Yeah.
Like, have you heard of the soft launch? People soft launch people and they just post them like their arm in a story. So like people know that they're with somebody, but they don't necessarily like soft launching is the way to go.
It almost becomes like a binding contract.
It does.
Yeah.
Signed in blood.
Well, that's why the soft launch is good.
In
soft launch is funny.
But we're the same where we just are not that active on social media. I never was even at like my peak. But if I'm going to post something, she's had to have nagged me so much about it. It's got to be so important to her because a girl has the ability to embarrass you. Your girl can embarrass you. You know what I mean? Once you soft launch her or whatever, you put like she's going out there wilding out doing other stuff on her Instagram. It makes you look.
That's true. That's a good point.
And the thing is, someone who would nag me about posting them, I'm not going to be with them anyway. So actually, I would never post anyone because I'm not going to do it unless they nag. But I'm not going to be with someone if they nag me.
So it works out.
So are both of you guys saying that it doesn't necessarily equate to the amount that you're interested in the girl, whether you post her or not? You just both in general wouldn't. It doesn't necessarily mean you're trying to keep your options open.
Correct. Because even if you're super interested in her and you're obsessed with her, if you're sitting there posting her on Instagram, it's a turn off to her.
No way. Girls love that shit.
They love the attention, but we're going to be reading through the comments like, wait, I'm the best he can do?
Like no other girls are putting hard eyes on her?
Yeah. Like she's got to be thirsty for you to post about her. And you got it's like there's a whole technique to it.
I feel like women in general are like that.
But the guy early on is like, hey, let's
turn off.
Like,
turn off.
Like it's got to be like a year of dating him and he hasn't posted anything, and like they nag him and then he posts. That will be a turn on for them. But if he's like, hey, let's take a picture, a guy can't ever suggest taking a picture ever.
Well, everyone knows that one person too that like literally like post, oh my god, I'm in love, and they post and then they're broken up. That person all of a sudden disappears off their profile, and then 3 months later it's like, I'm in love again. I have one girl I follow and I swear she's had 35 different boyfriends.
That's another thing.
And I'm like, soft launch them or don't, like put their arm in it and no faces.
I love how you can tell how a girl's life is going based on the last couple months. of their comments and of their Instagram posts.
If they're posting the quotes.
If they post quotes, if they
Yes.
post quotes, you can tell like, wow, she must have be dealing within 2 to 3 weeks of a breakup right now.
Yes.
They must have gotten in a fight, like depending
Like
on what
life
they
is
quoted.
all about me, focusing on me.
Yeah, like,
kind of
oh
shit.
my
like-
God.
Yeah. Or if they like starting to go to the gym.
independent, happy, and glowing.
Yes.
That really means codependent, upset, and miserable.
Yeah. That means
or
you
if all of a sudden they're like, if they were married before, all of a sudden they change their profile name to like their first name and their middle name.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
divorce.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
instantly like, all right, they're getting
And
divorced.
you literally can tell the narration of a girl's life by how she acts. It's unbelievable. It's something I've gotten really astute about.
I've gotten to the point
and girls
too,
think people don't know, which is so funny.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I also think, and in someone's case where social media is tied to their job, I get it, but I'm not into dating women that are that into social media at this like you said, it can really muddy the waters. And like if that's what's really important to you, live real life, like be here,
How annoying is it if someone like my sister does this like crazy? We'll be out to eat and she's like, all right, let's take a pic. It's constant. I can't hang out with her without her secret taking pics.
Yeah.
She literally posted a pic of me after a funeral.
Well,
and
like,
I was
are
like,
you-
what are you doing?
It's like, are you doing stuff
Just
because
to
you want to
post.
do it, or are you doing stuff so you can post on social media? It's like you go to a concert, like watch the concert. You don't watch it through your phone. When are you ever going to watch it?
Yeah, be present.
Yeah, like I said, if it's part of the job, I get it. Women that are too into it, or that like they're basing like decisions and stuff on what they're on.
like
what
they're going
seeing or
to
what
a
they're gonna
place
do.
just so that they could
Yeah,
have good on their
or
feed.
that, and also like seeing stuff on social media and making like decisions or being in certain moods or having certain feelings because of stuff that's going on social media. That is so wild to me. It's like that's not what's really going on.
It's like very immature too.
Yeah.
It's such a turnoff. Like you said, I get it when the girl, if she has a ton of followers and she's actually making money from like doing marketing things. I get that, but there's a difference in marketing and monetizing your social media and then just living your whole life.
I make money off of it. So if summertime I'm out doing something, I'll take some video footage, but by no means am I ever going to sit there at dinner and be like, oh, let's take a selfie.
Yeah.
I do it in a way where I know the people I'm with know what I'm doing and stuff like that.
There's nothing more cringeworthy to me than talking about how many followers someone has.
Yeah.
I know.
It's like, oh my God,
I
how many
know.
followers do they
People
have?
have actually
You've
asked
got
me that
such
before.
influence.
And I'm like, it's
You're-
You're so important.
Influencers are like, that whole thing is dying now, and I'm so happy about it because
God,
I
the,
just
the
can't.
term influencer is cringeworthy
It
too.
drives me crazy.
I don't know what's worse is like the corny little young boy that does ridiculous stuff on social media to get attention, or the hot girl that dates that because he gets attention on social media. I don't know what's worse, the piece of crap or the flies that fly around the piece of crap.
Isn't it amazing that social media presence can, like, we're talking about things that make you like an alpha male, make you attracted to female, that a certain number of followers.
Yeah,
on social media has become
It's like a
something
thing
that,
now.
like,
It's an attraction trigger.
Yeah, it's
like,
crazy,
Yeah.
especially
so
for the younger
stupid.
generation.
Yeah.
I've gotten on social media like once in every 4 to 5 months.
I almost get a little anxious when I open my Instagram because I don't get on it for so long. I don't even want to deal with like seeing notifications or what's going on. I don't even know where to begin to like
I used Facebook and Instagram the way I used to in so long.
Yeah.
I like TikTok though. I could be in
I've
a
never been on
hole for
TikTok, and
hours.
I'm proud of it.
TikTok actually has like information.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've legitimately had to get better at being in the real world.
Yeah.
I was never on social media a ton, but I was on enough to where like I got to just start doing stuff and not take social media into consideration. Or
Yeah.
It has no bearing on
It's
life.
so- yeah,
You know what I
like-
mean? Like I actually have in my dating profile.
Which that's my next topic, so it's a good segue.
Yeah, my Hinge profile. I wonder if any lovely ladies will find me on Hinge. You know, you select like 3 things to answer or whatever.
Hinge actually has decent like prompts. And
Yeah,
things
so
like
a
that.
life goal of mine, direct to feature length psychological thriller. All right.
Okay.
Which is my next life goal. The key to my heart is a woman that's kind, interesting, and self-aware. Bonus points for not smacking your food and not being obsessed with social media. Yeah. I did have best travel story, and I talked about playing basketball in China and Central Asia. But then, you know, it was
You hate when people talk about traveling.
well, see, but I wasn't. But most of the time, it's like green flags I look for. You love to travel. Or this year, I really want to travel more. That's the number one answer. So,
Yeah.
but I did feel like I didn't want any travel. So, my most controversial opinion is hating Super Bowl halftime shows. Also, avocados ... overrated. So,
that's funny.
and then here's my pictures. You tell me.
That's your main one?
Yep.
It doesn't do you justice.
No.
No.
Well, there we go. This is why we gotta. That's
No,
the one
we
people
need
like.
to
the
redo
most.
your whole profile.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Dude, man.
What's wrong with it?
That doesn't represent you at all.
Let me see what is.
He could do way better on his profile. Look at it.
I get why. Yeah, you look good in it, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you can't really see what you look like, you know.
Well, look at my other pictures. Can you not see what I look like?
Yeah, I think you could do better.
All right, fair enough. But the answers, what do you think of the answers?
Oh, I didn't look. I was just looking at the pictures.
Well, I just read them to you.
When I was
I
was on the dating app, I never read the answers. I just looked at the pictures.
Really?
Yeah. If I liked a dude, I would.
Okay, so here's my mode of attack.
Tell us your process.
Okay, what I like to do when I like a girl, I will never like a picture. I only like their answers because
smart.
Well played.
it's so
Well
smart.
played.
It's so smart because like, you know, most guys are probably like thirst trapped.
Yeah,
like,
hard eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I never comment on their looks until I see them in person, and I'll tell them, you know, if we go to dinner or something, like,
Right.
oh, you look great tonight. But I never say like, you know, hey, like, man, you're cute, or like, oh, you're beautiful. Never say that.
Women hate the word cute.
Yeah,
by the way.
never.
Do you know what cute means? It means you're not hot.
Yeah,
if a guy calls
exactly.
you cute, you're like,
Yeah,
oh, great.
exactly. But like, I never comment on their looks. I only like their answers. And because women have such different processes on like when you get their number, you know, some are like, why haven't you asked for my number? Or like some are like, oh, I don't give that till I meet up. So I don't ask for numbers until after I meet up. If I want to see him again, I'll say, hey, like I had a good time. You know, if you want to hang out again, why don't you drop your number here?
Yeah.
Like, and then that's actually a way that they can
That's
confirm.
a good way, because some guys will be like, what's your number?
Yeah,
And they'll
it's-
want to call you.
Yeah,
and
with
I'm like,
with the
"Oh,
true crime
simmer down."
age, you know, women like,
Yeah.
are afraid of getting murdered. So only like one of their answers. Never comment on their looks until I actually meet them. Don't ask for their number until I've met them in person and I'm interested in seeing
So
again.
where are you taking them on the first date?
And I never kiss on the first date.
You told us that
Yes.
last time, but where are you taking them on the first date?
Wait. Why is that?
Because if it was like 1,000% sure, like, you know, and it was like sparks are flying, I might, but like, I'm never going to risk rejection. And because you can never go wrong with patience. Like, you can go wrong from being overly into it, you know?
Yeah, but you don't think you can wait too long and her kind of be like,
No,
like he has
No, it helps the
Yeah.
girl, because she'll be like, I don't know if he likes. It piques their interest.
Yeah.
Girls like guys that don't like them.
Think how
Come on.
many guys are like that want to kiss so bad in the first night. Like
Yeah.
that's what the guy wants, and then he wants to kiss so bad. He wants to hook up. If you can be like, I'm cool. Like, I don't need to like hook up with you on the
Yeah.
first night. I don't need to kiss you on the first night. I'm trying to get to know you. I'm vetting.
I think it's a little forward to kiss on the first
I'm
time.
vetting
anyway.
you.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm picky.
Are you drinking on dates?
I don't drink. I haven't drank in years, so I don't
Because
drink.
dry dating is like the new thing. People feel like you get to know someone better if you're not
So
drinking,
that's
which
my
is so true.
That's my rules about dates is I'd never kiss on the first date because it can only make them wonder why you didn't. Like the worst case scenario is why didn't he kiss? You know, but if you're more into it than them, if you're overly anxious to get the kiss, then that can go wrong.
I
if
don't
it's
think that
building
would
up-
surprise them.
if
I don't
it's-
think women expect kisses on the
Yeah,
first
well,
date.
If it's building up is like to a crescendo where you're definitely gonna make the move. I just know, like, if you didn't do it after the second one and she
Yes.
wants
The
it, you
second
wait
one,
too.
yeah.
If you make
Then
her
you're-
wait
then you're like a
too
pussy.
long, then it has like
Yes.
a counter
Yes.
proactive.
But I don't think you can go wrong not going for it in the first
That's-
date
no,
because it can
that's-
only like make them.
Yeah,
I feel
it's-
like it would be awkward if I went on a first date and a guy tried to kiss me.
Exactly.
I mean, it depends on the vibe of the first date.
Right.
But
There's you know, exceptions to every rule. But for dates, I will go to a bar with a girl even though I don't drink, and I'll get like a soda or something. And I really hate when girls are like, "What, you don't drink?" Oh, like they make a big deal of it. I just don't drink. You know, I have no problem if you have a drink. So I'll go to a bar, meet a girl for a drink. I like to get coffee during the day on like a Saturday.
Yeah.
I actually like that a lot. And then occasionally I've gone to dinner. It just depends on the girl. Glenwood Grill is my spot.
I feel like every guy has a spot. That
Yeah,
they take
Glenwood
girls.
Grill's my dinner
Literally,
spot.
They take the girls to the same restaurant.
Killjoy is my drink spot or sidebar, and then my
love
coffee.
Sidebar.
Then my coffee spot is Sir Walter downtown. Those are my 4 spots. So
What about you, Shav? Would you do dinner, coffee, or bar?
First of all,
I know you haven't gone out in a
Never
long
been
time.
I've never been on a dating app, and my play is just like have a group of girls over pregame, and then like I'll choose which one I want.
Oh my God, Shav.
I mean, I'm that's how.
What
like,
if you're trying to meet somebody that you want to settle down with and get married? You cannot do it that way. Women do not like being around a group of other women. They feel like they have to compete with that woman.
you
No.
have to make them think they are competing.
Not true.
100%. They if
Not
the-
a high value woman. You're gonna scare.
they
someone
other
to
than
date
you, give me an example. Who's a high value? Beyonce.
I think most women. almost every woman I know would hate that situation. We don't want to compete with other women. It's a terribly uncomfortable situation.
I'm saying in a festive like we're going out. It's not like I have like a line of them. Like I'm talking
Shav
about
needs to be on like Love Is Blind or something.
My boys actually was asked to be on that show.
I know. I
3
remember.
different times.
I do think Shav needs to be on one of those shows.
I mean, like you've been part like going over to like pre-games.
Yeah.
I prefer for it to be like an organic thing. And if I vibe with the girl like out where there's no pressure to interact one-on-one, then yeah, I might.
Okay,
like,
that's said a lot differently.
I might be like, what are you doing later on? But I would say I'm not great at dates. I've never been on a dating app.
So I think you maybe phrased that wrong. So it's like a bunch of people, like all friends together.
Yeah, all friends together. It's not like it's just
you
like
made
10
it sound
girls.
like you were lining up a group of women,
No,
inviting them
that-
over,
then
and may the best woman win.
I completely
he
worded
Right?
that.
Didn't
he
you
likes
make it
he
sound
likes
like
a
that?
group of guys, group of girls hanging out, and
Yeah,
the
like-
vibe happens
like-
organically.
I think
rather
that's
than
a lot
a
of
date.
people. Yeah, a lot of people like that.
Like a mixer almost, but
Yeah.
like
A mix, yeah.
think
It's a
a lot of
formal.
people like that.
but
It's a fraternity
girls
formal.
girls have to know they're competing.
That
So-
is you're wrong. Women do not like to compete.
They have to think that other women like you.
Yeah.
They maybe not competing.
Yeah, but they want to figure that out on their own. They don't want you to put it in their face. Like,
not saying
guys
put
should
it in
not
their
have
face.
pictures on their dating profile with other women. You don't
Oh,
know
yeah,
how many
no.
guys
I
have
agree.
pictures.
I agree.
We're like, is that your sister? Is that your ex? Like, is she cuter?
When
like,
I say compete, I mean she might have a vibe with you and you go to talk to her, you have a couple of good words, she steps away to go to the drink, and another girl slides in and starts talking to you, that's going to turn her on and be like, wow, okay, I got to be on my P's and Q's. Like this other girl.
maybe a girl in her 20s, but
No,
anyone over the age of 30 doesn't want to play with that
I think the thing that
shit.
gets girls the most is like, yeah, if they organically find out.
Yeah,
like,
we wanna
like
find
you-
out
you
on our
don't-
own that
you
women
don't,
like you.
Like you don't put it out there, and like they clearly see that other women like you. Like
Yeah.
that will get them so obsessed with you.
Yeah, we like that, but don't put it in our face.
I'm not saying I'm not saying
I think
put it in
he's
your
actually
face.
saying the same thing. He's saying like if you're at a party talking to a girl and then you guys are in different locations and they see another pretty girl talk to you, you're not going after it. That girl's coming after you.
A girl initially would love just to be the only girl that's getting the attention from the hot guy. Like they
all
they
the
would
other
love
girl-
that, just be showered and their feet pampered and everything. But they're not going to respect that man. They're not going to respect that man enough to like want to date him seriously. Like when once push comes to shove, that attention is going to get boring for her. She's going to go seek that attention from the guy that's getting a bunch of other girls, because that's a challenge to her.
Here's another
I
thing
don't
that
know.
is a no-go for me on dating apps. All right. When I start a conversation with you or you start it with me, if there are no question marks in any of your text, like where did you learn to have a conversation?
Yeah,
Like,
I just-
or on Bumble, like where the girl
Yeah.
has to say something first. Hey,
Yeah.
how's it going? How was your
Yeah.
week? It was okay.
My best guy friend just had this issue that
It's like,
he would,
what do you want? And then
yeah.
it's like, the guys are boring. They ask me the same questions over and over again because you give nothing.
Yeah.
You
When they
give
don't
nothing.
ask questions back, it's terrible. But guys,
Who
some guys
fucking
are like that
raised
too.
you?
I don't think that's just women. I think a lot of guys are like that too.
I'm sure they are.
Like
but
terrible conversationalists. Goodbye.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
yeah. Like, look, like I need the combination of physical and like mental and like I
Yeah.
have to connect with you.
Oh well,
like
this
this
is going to be a good lead into my next
like,
topic.
I
So
have to
finish
connect
your
with you.
point.
I have to think you're interesting. I have to like think you're cool. I have to be able to talk to you. Like you're
Yeah.
not getting by with just your looks with me, sweetheart.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, but you're not. It's like I ask you a question. You give me a one sentence answer. In society, what we then do is say, "How about you?" or "What do you like to do?" We don't
Yeah.
just answer and then not say anything back. That's not how society
that's not how
works. Like,
conversations
where
work.
were you? Were you raised by wolves?
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. If I ask 3 questions without getting a question back, I will either unmatch them or just not talk to them anymore. I don't care what they look like.
Yeah, but
Like,
I think
F that.
Yes. With my best guy friend, he was going through it, something similar, but what had happened was she was a nurse and she was super busy all day, so she was trying not to be rude and trying to answer him, but didn't have time to like fully have the conversation. So I think that sometimes that happens too.
Yeah.
I know that society has gotten crazy with that. Like, if people don't text back right away,
God.
it's like,
if I don't text back, because I'm busy as hell too, if I don't text back right away and a girl like questions me about it,
Yeah.
that's
No,
it's
also a
done.
deal
Yeah,
breaker.
yeah.
Like, no,
I
like,
have guys
have
that will
things-
apologize to me, be like, sorry I didn't answer you. I'm like, don't apologize.
Yeah, I have a life. I have things
Yeah.
going on.
I think that's why I haven't gone on a date. Well, I've been in serious relationships, but there's so many
because
games
you
have
want a
to,
group date. That's why.
yeah. There's so many games that go into it. I'm just like, oh God, I don't even feel like dealing with it. Like having to think about it, even having to like.
I feel like a lot of people are going through that right now, especially at 35 and up. They're just like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. 'Cause it's a lot of work.
Well, and that's when you actually find a relationship, is when you're not putting pressure on it. But like, that's why going on a date, I'm like an extroverted introvert. I'm naturally like, good at like being social, talking to people and stuff. But I am an introvert in that like I love my alone time. I get recharged by being alone. So going on a date for me is like a energy suck. Like that is a big to do for me, to like get out of the house and like go do this. So like to do that, I've got to like really vet the person, like it's like I've got to be physically attracted to them, and then I've got to have like a few days for me of a conversation that's like a good conversation, and it could be once every 6 hours you respond. I don't care about the timing, but like it's got to be an engaging conversation, and then like maybe I'll go meet up with them. And then the shitty thing that happens is I've got my checklist and I go meet up, and then they're 25 pounds heavier than they were on the app. And that is bullshit, because that is dishonesty. That's a lie.
But
well, men do the same thing. We call it hat fishing.
Yeah.
You know how many guys I went on dates with that lied about their height? One of them was literally my height when he showed up. He was literally my height, and he said he was 6 foot. Dan, my ex, I measured him.
Yeah.
Well, after we started dating, I was like, listen, you're not 6 feet. And he's like, I am. He was 5'10".
Yeah. Well, I don't have to lie about my height, and I do have a couple pictures on there you can clearly see. But yeah, it's amazing. Women, it's like, if you're going to put a picture from 5 years ago, I don't care if it's from 5 years, but look the same.
Yeah,
men do it too, though, and filters.
Well, it just sucks for people like like me, who are putting what they really look like, or maybe not even doing myself justice, as you say.
I think you're not doing
putting my real height,
justice.
putting like recent pictures, putting what I actually look like, and showing up as the person that presented themselves on the app. And then I get this girl who's like 25 pounds heavier than she was.
So what do you do? Do you stay on the date? Do you leave? What do you do?
I am naturally a nice guy, and I will put in probably 45 minutes to an hour at least, and have conversation.
Are you paying for the date?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll always pay for the. I feel like that's just like a Southern thing.
Yeah,
like,
I pay for the date, and I always feel obliged to give them an hour of my attention, and because they're nice people. Because if I've gotten to that point with them, then I've had good conversation.
Maybe they'll become a friend or someone you do business with.
So
or
like,
something like that.
by the time I've gotten to a date, I've had an engaging enough conversation and enjoyed like their company, their virtual company enough to meet them. So I know I can make conversation with them. I'll put in an hour and give them a hug and pay, and that's it. But
so is it expensive for a guy to
date? It's expensive as fuck.
What are your thoughts on? Because I have a statistic.
I've almost had to have vetted the girl enough before I'd even go quote unquote whatever a one-on-one date with her to know like, okay, that date is just a formality. Like I've already got vibes with you.
Yeah.
Like I already want to hang out with it. There's no decision that I'm having to make.
Yeah. The only thing I would get to that point if they actually looked like. It's like when online dating, you never actually know what they're going to look like.
What about FaceTiming ahead of time or something? So some people do that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've done that a couple of times, and I think one of the girls I did that with, I didn't end up going out with. Like, that's a good thing to do, because then you actually are like face to face. Like, because
you can
with
see their vibe.
Yeah, with texting, you take a few hours, you respond, and it goes, but like, it's always different. Like when you get in front of someone, whether it's on FaceTime or in person. I have I'd say overall the experience has been good for me.
Mine was a nightmare. I will never online date again.
I think for me, like I feel no pressure to be in a relationship, and I'm like very happy with my life where it's at, like whether I'm in a relationship or not. So anytime I go out and it's like, I'm not really into this. It's not like, oh damn, another one sucked. Like for me, it's just like, I met someone who's nice. Like, I hope they had a good time. Like it was cool. I'll never see him again. But like whatever. I got out of my house. I'm not on the house just watching basketball or movies. Like that's probably good for me.
Shav and I met through online dating by default, right?
Yeah.
Because I went on an online date with
Brongulan?
Yeah, with Ryan Reynolds Jr. We'll call him.
Seriously.
Why do you hate online dating? Why has it been bad for you?
I've just had terrible experiences. The guy who lied about his height, he literally said he was almost 6 feet probably, and he was my height. He did this thing that apparently creepy dudes do, and they bring you sunflowers as like the flower, because you have to put them in water right away, which means they have to come into your apartment.
Wow,
He just
Jesus.
walked right into
Yeah.
my apartment, and I was like, oh boy, which creeped me out. And he was just terrible. He started a fight with the waiter.
Oh
like,
God,
it was
that's all you
just-
need to know about
Yeah.
someone.
He
Someone
wanted
who's rude
to
to a
touch
waiter.
me like the whole time. He just kept being like, oh, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and then as he's walking me back to my apartment, he's like, can I come in and watch your favorite show, Money Heist? And I was like, dude, how do you know my favorite show? It was not on my dating app. I never mentioned it to him.
So he had like cyber stalked you.
He had like cyber stalked me, which was he was awful.
Hold on, but you went on a second date with him?
No,
This is
and
just a
I should have
one-date
left
thing.
when he got in a fight with the
Okay.
waiter. It was awful. Everybody was staring at us. It was terrible. And I'm just a nice person. I thought about going to the bathroom and jetting because it was walkable to my apartment, but
Yeah.
he knew where I lived, and I was like,
I've
"This is
actually,
terrible."
it's funny you say that because there's been maybe a handful of girls that like I've continued talking to after one date, and I've
Yeah.
gotten a lot of like, you know how refreshing you are, because there are a lot of guys out there who are doing that creepy shit or being aggressive or sending dick pics or doing all that.
Yeah.
I'm like, are
You don't
any
know
of my
how-
friends doing this? Like,
No.
this is embarrassing.
Literally, so many of them send pics, and I'm like, okay, bye, see you
Yeah,
later.
it's wild what some of these guys do. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I hope I don't hang out with any of these guys that, I mean, Brongulin's probably one of these guys, but like, I hope I don't hang out with any of these guys that
Yeah.
are doing this. It's incredible. Or they like try to make the conversation sexual right off the bat. What are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just not my thing. I'm
Another
just not
huge
aggressive like
huge
that.
turn off if like I'm taking a girl out, especially if it's still a nice place and I'm really trying to roll the red carpet out for her. She's already been to that place. She's dated a lot.
You mean
Goes
she
to-
makes a point to tell you she's done
Well,
it?
if she could tell me, or the waiter could be like, "Hey, Stacy."
So you know she's like a serial dater.
It's like you
You were
want
here at lunch.
Yeah.
you want a girl to do all her like nice things with you first.
Thanks for joining us today for another utterly useless conversation. This is the MFM podcast.
Bye.